Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be playing Supreme Commander on Ubuntu 20.04. Here we go. Using the new Proton Linux. I'm recording using OBS and I'm using QuickSync. Unfortunately, OBS doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the Windows version for QuickSync has, but it can do the basic stuff. So it just loads up straight out of the box. Everything works.
Space held such hope.
I always like this video.
A fresh start. A chance for old grievances to wither and die. Quantum gate networks let humanity push deeper and deeper into space.
So it runs just fine. I had to turn on like some tearing thing in the X configuration. But other than that, there weren't any tweaks. The second adapter doesn't work. I always play with VSync off, always, just to get, maximum 60 frames per second, 95% of the time. Right now it's dipping 45, but it's, it's the menu. So we're going to do a quick one here. We'll do the Operation Black Earth.
Lieutenant, you are being
pretty
assigned
quick.
to Colonel Arnold for the duration of your probationary period. His word is law.
But other than the second adapter, it runs flawlessly.
To Capella over an hour ago. We presume they're attempting to
I mean, this is just amazing to think you can, now use Linux to game on.
Because of President Riley's insistence that we fight across multiple fronts, we had to pull troops away from Capella for other ops. As a result, the research facilities on Capella are only lightly defended. The Cybrans must not be allowed to compromise our work.
Are we there to secure Capella for good? Or are we gonna let it fall to the Cybrans in a month?
You have your orders, Colonel. You gate at 11:30 hours. Dismissed.
Now the cool thing is that you can actually capture just the game, but I wanted to capture the desktop. Just so you guys can see that I was in Linux and see here it is. It's pretty awesome what you can do. Pretty freaking awesome. As you can see, I'm now achieving 90 FPS.
Listen up, rookie. I know what they taught you at the academy regarding Cybran tactics. But
Oh,
you need
yeah.
to forget all that crap. The Cybrans are no longer running from a stand-up fight. And they're not afraid to come at you with guns blazing. Your
This is perfectly smooth.
and paid the price. Start by building some power generators and
I remember when this game came out. It was awesome.
Schematics downloaded.
I was a big fan of the game that came out before this. It was called Total Annihilation. Oops. Well, this is, I'm going to be playing as fast as I can. This is by no means a speed run.
Unit schematics downloaded.
Now then, build a land factory to take advantage of all that power and mass. Get it done.
Wow, those orders. I guess I don't have the units yet. Usually it lets me build units while it's, or it lets me select the units I want to build during construction. I guess it's got to give me schematics after that.
Unit schematics
Yeah, there we
downloaded.
go.
Okay, now build a bunch of MA-12 Striker medium tanks. Move them around and get used to the controls.
Yeah, there we go. See, now I can select them automatically. We just got to build a bunch of tanks. And this was the first time I'd seen the concept of, I'm not sure, did Warcraft 3 have expanded? It's been so long since I played Warcraft 3, I don't remember. But one of the key things about this game is the battlefield keeps getting expanded as you obtain objectives. That mouse. I don't know. Maybe it's because I got VSync off, so it doesn't have smooth
There's a
scrolling.
couple of units defending it, but your tank should make short work of them.
Operation area expanded.
There we go. Operation area expanded. So the game is running off of an NTFS partition. I share this NTF partition with Windows, my Windows library. So, that's pretty cool. I just got to make sure that the games that are native to Linux don't end up getting overwritten. I like to keep everything under Proton so I can play them both in Windows and Linux. But when this happening is if they've got like Linux binaries, they'll erase a portion of the game. So you can run it on, so you can run the Linux binaries instead of the Windows binaries. Never understood why they just couldn't, you know, add the Linux binaries as a side-by-side thing. Like Dota 2, if you play on Linux, if you switch between back to Linux and Windows, you'll end up like downloading a gig every time. Blow it up. So the tactic that I've been using recently is I used to just build like factories at my base and then have the units, you know, travel across the map to reach a destination. But you know, it works, but it's very slow. So recently, what I've been doing is building additional factories as I get farther ahead.
Operation area expanded.
And there we go, more schematic. So I'll leave like these guys at the base because they create, you know, backup at base in case, you know, the enemy reaches it. Build another one. We're good on just about everything. Oh, we need mass. Okay, so this is where these little guys come in. Sometimes it depends on how I want to play. You know, I'll use my commander, you know, to build stuff, especially in the later missions when he can build like Tech 2 and Tech 3 quicker than the robots. But for the most part in the early ones, I just let the commander sit back in the base and just rely on Tech 1 engineers to go around and build everything. And I have at least one factory, just keep building them. Well, I moved this army forward. Another army is being built from behind. Bit of a mass shortage right now. So as I get closer and closer to the other commander, I'm going to be building land factories that will be closer. I am still getting 91 frames, but there's no stuttering at all. Some games may have a stutter when reading from the hard drive. It's kind of, you know, because I'm, you know, using an NTFS partition in Linux. So I don't know if that's necessarily the issue, but this game runs flawlessly, as you can see. I was playing Kingdoms of Amalur earlier as well, and you know that game also just out of the box just runs perfectly in Linux. To me, I don't know when this Linux gaming thing is pretty recent, because the last time I used or I attempted to game on Linux was probably Ubuntu 16 or so, and you were lucky just to get the Catalyst drivers to work correctly. And this was, you know, before Proton. I mean, there was Wine, and I guess you could get Wine to work, but it used to be pretty slow. We still need some mass, so get that going. So what I'm gonna do is construct a factory out here. I expect them to take them all out already. So we got a backup army, so unfortunately, my capture card is not supported in Linux. That's something I didn't think about when I purchased my capture card years ago. It's an old one. It's a Live Gamer HD2. Other than that, you know, like I said, OBS has very limited quick sync encoding options. So if I wanted to do something like variable bitrate and stuff like that with quick sync, you can't do that. You know, they call it like ICQ, and LAICQ doesn't have that options. But if you just want a basic, you know, like I do a 6 megabit, sorry, encode, it works just fine. My birdies want attention. So yeah, so this is what I do, is just create, you know, a new army at the front lines. So I can't capture this air factory. I tried it before, and I brought all my engineers to try to capture it, and all they do is destroy it. What I'm gonna do here is just start building the rest of these factories here. I mean, I can play this on my 2013 laptop too, and I'm still very surprised at the performance. Video card drivers certainly have significantly improved.
Not bad, rookie. But don't let it go to your head.
And on 2013, it has a Radeon 8610G, which is no longer even supported officially by AMD, and it works.
I'm leaving you with some reinforcements. There are a few steps above your pay grade, but that doesn't
You know,
mean
an Xbox 360 controller works out of the box.
That airbase was meaningless. The larger struggle remains.
It was meaningless, huh? Okay.
Psychobabble.
Yeah, psychobabble.
Operation area
Here we go. So this is gonna be the next staging area right here. And what I do is I build the factories in threes. I don't know if that will work for the rest of the missions, but for this one, yeah, it works out pretty well. Oh, looks like there's nobody here. But what I do is I just kind of stage, because these are the targets right here, so I'll stage it just right before them. Let everybody, you know, catch up. They're not the fastest army that moves. That's why I build land factories farther down I go. So when new units get replaced, they don't have to walk across the map. But as you can see, we're still getting 96 FPS. Boom. Love those explosions. Earlier versions, like of Proton, had trouble where the explosions would stop. But so far I've not encountered that to be the case in the latest Proton version. In fact, it just runs flawlessly, other than not being able to use the second screen.
Underestimate you again.
Schematics downloaded.
I mean, it was a really nice feature. But I mean, it's not necessarily a deal breaker.
Take out the Cyber Commander. I don't
Like,
care
I can live without it.
just as long as it gets done.
Operation area expanded.
That's already been built. Alright, here we go.
Commander, can you read me? This
No.
is Assistant Research Director Thompson.
Okay, if you say
Cybers are
so.
attacking us, and I don't know how much longer our defenses will hold. I'm patching
10
into our
minutes.
systems. You'll have access to our long-range radar.
Radar. Okay. Oh, there's a little bit of a stutter right there, but it just could be from reading from the disc. That's the first time I've seen it. Oh, I'm out of power. So what we need is more power generators. So you want things connected. So it'll, you know, you get these little wires, see, like all these little wires. So it, like, I don't know, reduces, I think it reduces the, like the energy intake and stuff. Or it optimizes it.
Commander, we have a light artillery installation available, but we
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
okay.
enough power to fire it. The site has some
We're gonna
active
skip
power
that.
generators to the far west. If you can capture one,
Because I can kill it
your grid and fire the
faster
weapon.
than I can capture that,
I
so
like it. Go capture one of those Tech 2 power generators.
tell me what to do. One thing is we have a slight power problem right now. We're waiting for him. That's because he's also building. So yeah, I mean, it just runs really smooth. I love being able to do that. It's just really awesome. I can load up my web browser. Just flip right on over. There's no latency at all. It just feels a lot smoother than Windows. Oh, especially since there's no virus scanning in the background. Like, I run off a 2.5 terabyte or a 2 terabyte Western Digital. It's not the fastest. It's like 7,200 RPM, but it's not the fastest disk you can buy, right? Especially being a regular hard drive. And I just hate it when the antivirus, the Windows malware protection system, like takes up a whole CPU core, and then we'll sit there and just read randomly off the disk, like all the time. Linux doesn't have that problem because it doesn't need an antivirus. And that's a huge like thing for my 2013 laptop that's only got 6 gigs of RAM. Once you get past, like, there were some like anomalies stuff after installing Ubuntu 1910 was the one I started with. For example, you have to disable the page file, or if you end up running into an issue where it just keeps like hogging memory, your computer will freeze. It's been like a known issue with the kernel 5 for a long time. I think every time I reboot, my audio switches back to my headset. In fact, right now, if I switch my audio back to my HDMI and then back to my headset, it doesn't work. My headset won't work anymore. I have to kill Pulse Audio and have it restart to get the headset working again. I don't think I had that problem in 1910. That seems to be part of the development 20.04 issue. But yeah, once you get past, like, there's a couple things where I guess they're kind of common issues. Once you know how to deal with them, then it's just smooth sailing. Especially if you're just, a user that games and browse the web and all that. You use Gmail. It's really great. It's when you start getting into the power usage. But I mean, that can be said the same things for Windows too. I mean,
Commander, we have analyzed the Cybern's base.
a couple weeks ago, I accidentally erased my partitions, and Windows erased my partitions because I was trying to resize, and I had to use Linux to actually recover them, which is hilarious because there was no Windows software that would fix it. Yeah, so what ended up happening was I accidentally converted my basic disk into a dynamic disk, which is really bad. You don't ever want to do that. I did it by accident when I was trying to give one of the partitions additional free space. And then once you create a dynamic disk, well, it changes the structure, so you can't really.
Your leaders are nothing more than liars. Do not believe their propaganda.
Do a whole lot with it in Linux, so I had to find out how to reset it back to a basic disk, and then I managed to do it, but then it erased my partition table, so it couldn't find Linux anymore. It was just it was a mess getting that fixed. As you can see, we got a lot of units now. We're gonna keep going down. Let's see, what do we got here? Okay, let's create some more of these. I like to build factories right on the front lines. We still need... Oh, the other issue is I don't have any mass. It's going to affect unit production. But as you can see, the game runs flawlessly, basically, pretty much. Other than the second adapter issue, like I said, it's not a game breaker. We've certainly come a long way. And, you know, I love that it's just a part of the Steam client. Right? I don't have to mess with Wine or download packages, or I don't even have to install any third-party software. I mean, well, technically Proton is third-party software. I guess you can call it third-party software, right? But the fact that it basically just works all inside of Steam, I think is just absolutely brilliant. And you know, it's not a virtual machine either. That's the other really good thing. I don't have to mess with virtual disks. Like I said, I share the library with my NTFS Windows partition. I mean, I've had no problems with it. I mean, I would always recommend having, you know, a backup of things that you know can't lose. But you know, you should be doing that anyway. But, you know, I haven't had any issues at all. On, kill that commander. See, that's what I don't really waste time with the thing on the left, because I'm just gonna overrun them by the time I'm able to do any of that. Plus, there's, you know, an army over here too, so. So I've tried various tactics in this game. So far, my favorite one is building land factories on the front lines. Especially when missions get incredibly large. And then they have to, you know, walk across the map. Because what I used to do was I used to build a factory, and then I would have them patrol and go to every single extractor, because a lot of times the extractors would get blown up. But recently I've not been doing that. I've been controlling the map through land factories. That's easy. I'm just backing him farther back. Oh, he's almost dead too. He's about to go.
Recall, damn it! Recall!
Boom, baby.
Took him down. Maybe
Mess with the best, die like the rest.
We appreciate the assistance, Commander, but
So yeah, that's Supreme Commander
the Cyberns took
on
Dr.
Linux. It just
He's one of our top researchers.
works out of the box with Proton 5, and
Shut up, Thompson. You eggheads get back to what you were doing. We'll worry about Sweeney.
Sir, General Clark sends her congratulations for successfully completing your first mission.
Absolutely brilliant. See how I did? 25 minutes. Okay, so that's better than my last time. Last time was 33 minutes. So I've, gotten really, really good at this. 374 losses, though. My losses are really high. But I don't care as long as I won, right? Anyway, that was my review of Spring Commander on Linux. And as you can see, it runs absolutely great. I'm even using the development branch, and it looks like they upgraded the GNOME to 3.36. I don't know why it says 15.5 gigs memory. It's two 8 gig chips. It's supposed to be 16, but I guess it sets some aside. Maybe that has to do with the Intel graphics for QuickSync. It sets aside memory for that. That's my theory. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, leave comments down below, or fly safe.